soon as they started talking about site goals, district goals, grade level goals, you know, I did everything I could just to stay in my seat without falling over and going to sleep, right? Those goals are all important, but for me, what was most important was what's going on in my classroom, what's going on with the kids that I'm working with. Because if I can take care of that, all the other stuff will be handled, right? But what it boils down to is competition. And you're probably sitting there and you're thinking, wait a minute, I'm not in this to compete. Whether you're in it to compete or not, you're competing. Anytime someone is taking your test scores and comparing them to someone else's test scores, you're competing. Now you can take that and go one of two ways. You can either say, I don't care, I'm just going to do what I do, and they can do whatever they want to do, I have a job. Or, if you're going to be forced to play to win. I never understood waking up in the morning and going to work just to go to work. I just couldn't. If I'm going to go to work, I'm going to work to win. And that comes from my parents, because when we grew up, they were Martin Luther King disciples. And they used to teach us, even if you're going to be a street cleaner, you be the best street cleaner. If you're going to do something, be the best at it. And so for all of my formative years, that's all I knew. So coming into this, I thought, if we're going to do it, we're going to be the best at it. And our staff, we met about being the best. Whether we became the best or not, that was not important. We were going to set out to be the best. So in our classrooms, we had to understand that our students were on our team. In fact, I had a teacher every single year. This guy was one of our English teachers. Had the ability to coach volleyball, coach club volleyball, but didn't coach at the high school. He was an English teacher only at the high school. He started every single school year out with a whole day of convincing his kids that they were on the same team. He says, I am here to work with you and to help you, and we're all going to help each other to be the very best team that we can be. And along with that, you need to understand that you have to reach out to your parents, because you can't, with this team, you can't be successful without the support of your parents. And so I got some resistance from some of our staff members when I said, listen, I want every single staff member to reach out to their parents. You can do it by email or phone call, but I want to see where you reached out to your parents the very first week of school. And send a letter out, introduce yourselves, talk about the class, but more importantly, make sure that they understand that we're a team. They are part of the team. And you need them to help assist with their kids to support the team. And I had some teachers that said that's so elementary. We did that in, second, third, fourth, fifth grade, but in high school you shouldn't do that. Listen, I coached for a lot of years, and that's one area where coaches were more advanced, because when you reach out to a parent and develop a relationship with the parent, and then at some point you have to call home or contact a parent for something that's negative, that conversation goes a lot different when you have a relationship with the parent than that being the first time you contacted the parent. It makes all the sense in the world to contact that parent early on, develop that relationship, you're on the same team, develop that relationship beforehand so that there's going to be smooth sailing all the way through. Even when something bad happens, you have an ally, right? If you think that you're going to go through this profession without talking to a parent, wrong. And we had teachers that were like that. We had teachers that said, listen, I teach. I don't have time to deal with issues that parents might have. You are setting yourself up. So understanding that the students are part of the team, understanding that your team, you guys have all heard the old saying, right? You're only as strong as your weakest link. Once we develop those teams within the classroom, everybody supported everyone. Kids knew that they had a responsibility to the team. They knew that we have to go home and do our homework, because when we come back, we can't let the team down. And our kids were working with each other. So if you're working on a project or you're working on a homework assignment and you come back into class and your teammate didn't do their homework, they weren't only letting themselves down, they were letting the team down. And we used that strategy. And it became contagious throughout. The other thing is great teachers sometimes steps outside the box. You know, we had an attendance policy at our high school, and it was pretty strict. But our great teachers, and when I taught, I had no idea what some of our policies were, because I had such a great relationship with the people that I was working with, the kids that I was working with and their parents, that I never even thought about it. And that's what happens with great teachers. You have this stringent, we had a stringent attendance policy, and our great teachers had their own policy within the classroom that might not have been as stringent, or might have allowed some wiggle room for them to be able to work or develop a relationship with the kid or family. And then I got complaints from the union because we had a few teachers that said that I would not force these other teachers to follow the attendance policy. Well, I was a teacher at the same school for a lot of years. I had a great relationship with the union. I was able to sit down with them and tell them, listen, we're going beyond the attendance policy now. We're developing relationships with kids and families. And if we have teachers that are not strong enough, and the teachers that were complaining because the same kids that were in their classroom were saying, why are you treating me like this when this so-and-so is said that I could do whatever, right? So it put them in a position where they felt like they were the bad person. But if you're a great teacher, you can work with that. Because in our classroom, this is how we do things. And with our team, this is how we do things, right? When you're not a great teacher, or you don't have a whole lot of self-confidence, then you always look for somebody to help support you, or you point fingers, right? So anyway, I say all of that because we're in the business, and I'm telling you, the greatest gift you can give a kid, the greatest gift you can give a person, is to teach them how to win. That's the best gift you can give a kid. You know, teaching your math assignments or lessons or your ELA lessons or your history lessons is all great. That's part of it. But teaching that person how to win, something that they can take with them and keep it forever. And that's what you do when you throw yourself in the classroom with the kids. We're all one team. This is how we're going to win. And the test scores will take care of themselves because we're going to do this together. And that kid now can take what was done, the process that was done to get to that point, they can take that process wherever they go. But now, there's one caveat. It takes a winner to teach a winner. Which means that you might have to define what winning is to you. And what you need to do to feel like a winner and to teach a winner. And we all go through that. We all went through that. But it works. It works. And you know, when you have a tough kid or two in your class and a tough parent, those are, you know, that old saying, keep your enemies closer than your friends. You absolutely want to do that. The last thing any kid could ever say to me was, I didn't like it. That was the last thing they could say. Because even the kids that I thought were out there and I really weren't my friends, they felt like they were my friends. And that's the one thing that our staff understood. And that was, I mean, we hammered that home. You never want a kid to go home and say that my teacher doesn't like me. You never want a parent leaving your rooms feeling like you don't like their kid. You bring those kids closer. Because usually it's those same kids that have had problems along the way. And once they see that you care, kids feel it. They know it. They know if you care or not. And if you, for whatever reason, don't care about a kid, it's magnified. So, what little message I have for you today is embrace your kids, embrace your families. It's never too late. I know this is the start of your second trimester. It's never too late. When the site goes, district goes, grade level goes, all of that stuff will take care of itself. If you and your team become a team, develop a game plan or lesson plan for each day and for the semester to win, and teach those kids how to win, when they move on in life, they'll remember you forever. Because it's not just the academic subject that they're learning that particular day. They need to learn how to move on in life. And what you can teach them, they will build on as they move on. So, take any questions if you have any, but that's my little spiel for today.
So what did you do this fall?
What did I do this fall?
In the afternoon?
I coach football. My brother is a head football coach at a high school in Los Angeles, inner city high school. Tough kids, tough families to deal with, and I worked with him. We had coached together for a long time, and I've been out of coaching for a while, but I went back and I coached with him, and it was a great experience for me, because dealing with kids that are dealing with so much every day just reinforced what we just talked about. It just reinforced for me that reaching out to these kids and listening. For me, listening, these kids, and we all have them, you don't know what they're dealing with. I was talking with the sixth grade classes today, and I made sure that I mentioned, I understand that there are distractions at home. There are things that are out of their control that they deal with. So when those kids come back to school and they hadn't done their homework, quite often I would say, you don't just jump on them. Those are the kids that you need to talk to find out what they're dealing with. Is this a kid that's just being defiant and not doing the homework, or is this a kid that's dealing with some stuff at home? Every kid is different. And working at Hawthorne High School this past school year taught me. It just reinforced for me. These kids, when you have parents that shouldn't be parents, that you're going home to every night, and we had a good group of kids that were foster kids. There's probably a quarter of the kids that we work with come from foster homes. And in some cases, they were better off than the kids that were with their natural mother or father. So giving that kid an opportunity, those kids an opportunity to be able to converse with someone that's willing to listen and meet them where they are, and at the right time offer some solutions, was huge. The other thing that I did is I'm the president of the CIF Southern section, which governs high school sports. Working at the school that I worked at, they didn't have an athletic trainer. So these kids had gone a whole year that I know of without being attended to by an adult. These kids were taping their own ankles. Kids would get hurt and there was no ice.